Hi, this is Mark Laughlin with Ambidextral Gunfighter, here to do a review of the FNS9c. It is a 12-round compact double stack, and it is fully ambidextrous, has ambidextrous slide release and an ambidextrous magazine push button release. I wish it had the paddle magazine release. I really like the color. It's a gorgeous color, but mainly I like the color because I just not really care for black. Out in the hot Wyoming sun, black absorbs a lot of sunlight and your guns get hot really fast. However, despite that, this pistol got very hot. In fact, even though it's been probably 10 minutes since I finished shooting, it's still too hot to touch to grab up there and do a press check. So I guess it's kind of a way of training yourself not to put your hands up near the muzzle anyway. It is kind of warm back here, but it is I can operate it. I did also get to where the slide release tabs were kind of warm as well, a little bit hot. So even though the color helps keep it cool, it's not staying very cool. Now the magazine release is a bit challenging. It's tucked in real tight, which makes it a little bit hard to actuate with your thumbs, but I did find that I could quickly adapt and do kind of a thumb and forefinger pinch on the pistol and then use the middle finger to eject the magazine. So that's how I worked out to operate the mags on this. I do like that I know some people complain that you can't work it with your thumb very easily, but I like that because then when it's holstered and you're doing deep concealed carry, you don't accidentally end up with your magazine, partially ejected, and if you've got one in the pipe well, you've got one round before you find out that you've got an issue to deal with, and maybe your magazine just falls out. So to me, it's more important that those first few shots are there for you, and therefore I do not want that magazine being accidentally ejected while carrying. So I like that. Now, of course, the better solution would be to switch to a paddle magazine, which would work ideal on this pistol with its size. You could reach around and do the four-finger thumb pinch on both sides of a paddle magazine release and eject really nicely. It does also come with instead of a stupid plastic case, which just ends up in a storage closet, it comes up with this nice little matching portfolio to carry your pistol. So that's pretty cool. I like that. At least it's better than a dumb plastic. At least it's something different. Now, during testing, another thing I found, and I think it's going to work out fine, but the left side mag release, I basically could, at least for the first 40 or 50 rounds, I could not even come close to getting that to drop the slide. Now, late in the game, I was able, with exceptional effort, manage to get it to drop occasionally, so I think that will eventually work in. I did get where I was fairly able to consistently work use it on the left, actually the left side of the pistol. Shooting right-handed, I could drop the slide just fine. Now, we're looking at it on as far as my spreadsheet analysis of rounds per size and weight. This pistol does okay. It's up in there, close to 4.00 area, so it's decent number of rounds for the size and weight of the pistol. I would like to do volume analysis on this. I'm estimating that it's probably about a 245cc volume, in which case that would even push it up a couple spots further up in the rankings. And I'm guesstimating that based on the fact that the slide is trimmed back quite a bit. Kind of like the Walther PPK, which had an oval slide. This slide is cut back, so you save some weight there, a little extra volume there. So it's going to fit, maybe a little nicer against the body. You don't have that square edge to deal with. Now, the trigger I found to be pretty good. It's not nearly as good as the Walther PPQ or the H&K VP9, which are my two favorite ambidextral gunfighter pistols, but it's a pretty good solid trigger. Certainly better than any Glock that I've tried, unless you go to some add in a trigger kit in it. But I found it pretty good. The reset's pretty good. Reset on this is actually better than the VP9, not as good as the Walther PPQ. Walther PPQ really tops it with the reset. I kind of look at this as the next step up from a Glock 26, which carries 10 rounds. So you got a 12-round pistol, which is just a little bit bigger. Unfortunately, this is about the same weight as a Glock 19, which this thing needs to lose some weight. It needs to lose about 4 ounces. If you could lose 4 ounces, that would put it near the top in the rankings on the spreadsheet for rounds per size and weight. So a little weight loss program would be pretty good for the FNS9c. As far as point shooting, I did find that it was a little bit challenging than some of the other pistols I've got for point shooting, and I think it has to do with maybe the kind of the chunky grip. I just can't quite get a consistent index. It's like grabbing a little bit like grabbing maybe a big fat closet rod, where you can't, just grabbing it, you don't get an immediate direction of where the pistol's pointed. So that's something I could probably learn to overcome. I do like the size. It's actually pretty nice. And it's a gorgeous pistol. I really like it. It's fun to handle. Now the pistol comes with the 12-round mag with the pink extension, and it is supposed to also come with one with a flat base plate, and then also it's got they include this a 17-round mag. Now, actually, I do not like using this, although it does give you a lot more grip area. Once you've developed your grip and developed your shooting technique with this, and have done dry fire with your 12-round magazine, throwing the 17 round in really changes up how the pistol feels, and it just I found that my shots weren't nearly as consistent. Maybe it's something you could train with and learn, but to me, I prefer everything being very consistent. So I would like to run the 12-round magazines, and carry, if I need to carry that much ammo, carry multiple 12-round magazines. Although, to be honest, I mean, how many people actually carry an extra magazine? I think for me, 90% of the time, I am only carrying the magazine that's in the pistol. So that kind of is kind of an epiphany for me to discover that, hey, really all this obsession I have with the ambidextrous slide release, ambidextrous mag release, if I'm only carrying one magazine, who gives a shit? I mean, it's just kind of a pointless exercise. But nonetheless, I think for those who are in higher threat areas that do carry extra magazines, becoming ambidextrous and then having those features on your pistol, I think are good. And then also, as I've discussed in my Caring for Self-Defense series, of course, I do advocate that once you become ambidextrous, that you then use a primary left-hand presentation of the weapon. Field strip is pretty like a lot of the pistols with the takedown lever. Lock the slide back, do the takedown lever. I kind of like the H&K VP9, where you do not have to do the pull the trigger to release the slide, but you just drop the slide, line it up flush with the back, and pull your trigger, and now your slide will come off the pistol. It's not ambidextrous, like one of my commenters noted. The takedown lever is not ambidextrous, so big downside there, I suppose. Now, the one cool thing is I like how the pistol has, besides being quite handsome, the slide is narrower than the frame, so that for those of you who insist on the thumbs forward hold, you're far less likely to get, cuts on your thumb. There is a decent beaver tail, so I don't think you're gonna get struck unless you have really beefy web here in the thumb. But again, that recessed slide I think helps for those of you who are shooting the thumbs forward. I'm still not convinced on the thumbs forward technique. I think for the amount of recoil management it provides, additional recoil management it provides over other techniques, I think the risk of inducing malfunctions on a pistol with that dragging on the slide and causing a failure maybe to eject or a double feed or stovepipe. So I think that's just, to me, is not a good idea. I preferred to keep myself away from the controls, and that helps to keep the pistol running consistently all day. Well, this is something I've not really run into much before with pistols. I today shot at the range, shot 100 rounds total, absolute 100 rounds, 2 boxes of ammo of SIG Elite. And I have never seen a pistol come back so dirty. I don't know if you can see on the video all that carbon buildup beneath the slide. But it's also all back into here. It looks very like reminds me of an AR. It looks like it's shitting where it eats, or shitting where the magazine tries to feed it to eat. So, let's see, pull this off and see if we can see anything weird going on here. I did have noticed that this is very tight and very snug. It really locks up tight on the frame. Yeah, that's pretty dirty. For 100 rounds especially. I wonder if this would explain why it was so hot today. That really, during shooting, it really got hot up in here in these forward serrations. Too hot to touch. Anyway, it's just a part of collating data, and we'll accumulate more and more data and see if there's anything significant to this. This is just a first 100 rounds review of the FNS9c. So Fabrique Nationale striker fired 9mm compact. This is Mark Laughlin with Ambidextral Gunfighter. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.